Hello everybody, this is Kyle from Pixelwave, and today we're going to texture our chair. So I got into everything here, was just kind of testing and playing with things, making sure everything was okay, and guess what? It was not okay. Let me show you guys what's going on here. And I'm, again, glad I forget these things so that we can talk about this stuff together. Not everything runs smoothly, and sometimes we run into issues. And that is just life. So let me go ahead and do a quick test bake just to show you guys what's going on here. And bake all texture sets. What I forgot to talk about, totally spaced on it, was texel density. So how big or small your UV islands are in comparison to other parts of your model. You want to aim to have the same texel density throughout, or let's say it's in scale with each other throughout the entire model itself. And I'll show you guys how to do that. But totally spaced on that, did not do it. And this is the issue that we're going to be running into. So if I throw a texture on here, it looks okay, somewhat decent at a glance. Then we start running into issues here. If I go this way, look how tightly knit this one is and how fat and big this guy is. This is the problem that we're running into. This is too big. The UV island is too big. I know that's a little counterintuitive because the texture is small. Yeah, we need to fix this. We need to make this guy smaller, the UV island smaller, or more in scale with what's going on with the rest of this. I think the rest of it was okay. I think the back had an issue, yeah. So look at this guy. Something's up with this. I think I need to bake it down. There's a turbo smooth on it that maybe didn't get turned on, but we're running into issues here. So need to fix that too. But again, this is good. This is something I need to see, we need to see. So if you do end up getting into a situation like this, you know how to fix these issues or problems. Hey, look at, we also got some issues down here. This leg is bigger. These are the same size. This one looks a little bigger. So yeah, again, spaced on that. Let's jump over to Max and we'll kind of look at what's going on with UV islands and try to get all of this sorted out. Oh, actually, let's show you the quick janky way. How about that? Let's say you don't have access to the model. Let's say you bought this from somebody, don't have the time to go through and fix everything. The quick fix, the jank fix, is triplanar projection. So good example here is, actually, we'll use this guy. So if I hold Control, Alt, right click, it'll select this texture set. And if I go to triplanar, see how it kind of fixes that? If I scale this up or down, so see now these two are kind of in the same scale. I can scale it up and get it close to this. And then all I would need to do to make sure everything's in the same scale is if I copy this and we'll Control Alt right click on this guy. Let's go ahead and delete this and I say paste. There you go. So then I can paste it on the rest of the model. Let's say down here too. And you guys will notice that we get the same, what looks like the same texel density. Now again, this is bigger, we're going to be getting more texture. So there's a chance when we get it over into our render engine, this is going to be clearer than this bottom area because it has more pixels kind of smashed into this UV island. Again, at a glance, it's okay, but I want to show you guys how to fix this the proper way. So that's the quick jank way if you don't have access to the model. Again, let's jump over to Max and I'll show you the proper way to fix this. Okay, so we're in Max here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this back guy first. So he's fine. Again, it looked like it didn't pick up the turbo smooth. Let me go ahead and I'm going to bake this down. So we're going to right click, convert to convert, edit poly. Toss this guy back on. Okay. Hopefully that'll fix that. Again, it just looked like it wasn't respecting the turbo smooth, like it wasn't baked into it. So that should fix that. And then let's go ahead and look at the front. Now, I'm going to be switching over in future tutorials to Max 2020. I got everything updated and loaded. Was just a little scared to kind of get everything moved over, as I feel like anytime I touch anything, it breaks. And doing this for a living, I need stuff working and not breaking. So I did get everything switched. So 2020 will be moving forward. Just want to finish this one out in 16 since I started. But so if we go ahead and look at this stuff here, if I grab both of these, they're on the same texture set. The UVs look fine, right? But I'll show you guys where the issue is here. If I zoom in. So all this more dense stuff is the piping, and this stuff needs to be smaller. Now, in 2020, when you have a drop down, you've got an extra option here for a grid. I'm just going to use the texture pattern here, and we can see, hey, Let me go back. Actually, I'm going to do it another way here. I actually downloaded this grid that's in 2020 or similar to what's in 2020, if that's not it. Let me go ahead and throw that on the material so that I can move around. Let me go back. Boop, 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 boop. Here we go. Drop it in. Okay. So again, here's the problem. Think of this as each one of these is a pixel. Now, obviously, they're not that big, right? But if we notice, this is going to have less pixels than what's going on in the piping. So see these white lines? It's the same as these grids out here. See how there's more pixels? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within each one in here. We need to get these to match. And then we also, respectively, need to get them to match on what's on these other pieces of the model as well. So if I open this up, what I can do is I'm just going to grab the bigger pieces and we're going to scale all of those up, and then we'll get it all into the one-to-one space in the end. So if I grab all these guys, I'm just going to start scaling this up till they're pretty much in the same texel density. And again, don't mind it's going off the side here. We're going to get it all back into the same area here quickly. And if I scale this up and down, so this is what I'm looking at here. See, this is a little smaller than this guy, so we need to go down a little bit. It's reversed, and it drives me crazy that it's reversed. It was very difficult when learning that it was kind of reversed. So if I need them to go bigger, I need to scale down again, which is a little backwards. So now we're going to do a pack custom, but we're not going to say rescale clusters. We're going to rotate, fill holes, normalize, all that's fine. Okay. Now it's back in. If you notice, the piping here is a lot smaller than it used to be, and it's actually where it needs to be. So let's take a look at the other ones real quick. Like there was a big issue with this one for sure. Let's go ahead, and this is the blue guy. I'll go ahead and toss this texture on. Oh, I can just copy it. Right-click copy, and we're going to say a right-click paste, and then view in viewport. So same deal with this dude. Let's go ahead and get all these kind of figured out. These guys need to be smaller, so we'll grab them. And actually, if I click this little button here, every time I click a polygon, it'll give me the entire mesh, and that's what I need. So let's go ahead and scale these up. Oh. Ooh, down. That's right. See? Backwards. Drives me nuts. Is what it is. Okay. So that's pretty close. I'll put those off to the side. We'll put these off to the side since we know those are good. And then here's our piping. So these guys need to go way down. Okay. Need to go down a little more. If we notice the white lines here, I think those are it. Yeah. Oh, maybe not. Let's check it again. Yeah. So somewhere in there. It's really hard to see, isn't it? Okay. My closest best guess. Let's do your pack custom again. Rotate, fill holes. Let's not rescale 0.007. Now, we need to look at this square compared to this square. So see how these guys are a little bigger than these guys? We're splitting hairs at this point, but for the sake of doing it properly, I'm going to scale all this down, which makes it bigger, and we'll get it in scale to the other guys. So that's looking pretty good. And I believe these were copied over. So if I copy this guy and we grab these, is that all of it? Yep. I'm going to say convert to edit poly, and let's go ahead and add this guy back. Oh, I can't. Let's just do this then. I think I can do this paste. 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 And we'll check this guy out. Copy. Paste it on this salmon colored dude. We'll say view and viewport. So yeah, there you go. All right. I'm going to work on the rest of this stuff, and I'll show you guys when I'm done. We'll get it back into Painter and start texturing. Sorry for the off-ramp on this one. Again, just want to make sure when we run into these issues, I show how to fix them. So if you guys do as well, you know how to do so. BRB. All right, we're back. So if you guys take a look at the model here, got everything kind of squared away. Squared away, pun intended. So all these squares are exactly, or close to exactly the same. Got a little bit bigger here at the bottom. Not the end of the world. You could spend a lot of time just making sure that everything is looking good. One little trick that kind of helped, totally didn't think about this till right now, is I was trying to grab these all, and I had a UV unwrap on this. Yeah, it was. They're all separated from each other. They're not attached. So to make this process a lot quicker, what we can do is if I take these two pieces, we say convert to editable poly, and I actually just attach these. Let's go ahead and attach the piping to the base. So now this is one model, right? This is one object, I'll say. So we have the piping and the base, and then I do a UV unwrap, and we do rescaling here. It'll scale it to itself. It doesn't scale it to the other parts of the model as they're different objects. I don't want, for textile density reasons, I want to be able to have each of these pieces, like this have its own 2K set, the other have its 2K set, to have a bunch of these, how would you say, different areas on their own texture sets. I don't want to combine the entire thing together. So let me convert that and bake that in and end isolation. So again, if you attach a bunch of these pieces together, the rescale thing works a little better, and then you can just kind of rescale the squares to each other. So we're pretty close here, and actually let's scale this down just a smidge. Okay, and to a lot of wasted space in here. We could have added maybe the back or something to this, but anyways, let's get to texturing. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy. We're going to go back to export selection, and we're going to override this here. Let's see, chair low. We'll say save. Yes, we want to replace it. Okay. That fixes that. Let's see if it actually did here in Painter. So if I go new, and we're going to say chair low. Okay. Discard this stuff. Okay. Let's do our quick test bake. Oops, here. Just to make sure everything's fine. Yeah. Noticing some issues already. Let's see if we can get through this. We'll fix those again. We'll see if the back is taken care of as well. Okay. I think it was the paste that caused that. So the back's fine. And this guy here. So let's look at that real quick. We'll combine all these. So isolate selection, and we'll go, collapse this down. I'm just going to go to edit poly mode. We'll say attach. So I'm going to attach the piping and the base. And we'll go back to a UV map. There you go. Okay. So rescale, and we'll say 0.007. So actually back up. This was the issue. I was working too quickly, and we have this UV island overlapping this UV island. So you get these dark spots where it thinks that the AO is like saying, okay, these are on top of each other, so they're close, but they're not. They're just overlapping each other. So if I go in and we just say rescale and pack, do our pack custom 0.007. Oops. Okay. And we'll check it real quick. End isolation. It's a little small. So we actually too dense. So we'll make this like that. Okay. Again, wasted space because we have all this on the outsides. Probably connecting some of these two would have been better, but for the sake of getting through this guy, let me go ahead and export this. File, export selection, chair low. Okay, we'll go back to Substance Painter. Do a new guy. And discard, bake again. I know, sorry about this, you guys. It's good you see it. Okay, there you go. See how it's already fixed there? Baking the rest, everything's looking good. You start noticing issues, like especially with the AO, you start seeing overlapping pretty quickly. Okay. There you go. That looks cool. Let's just toss these on to make sure textile density is where it needs to be. Yeah, so see how these are looking better now? Still a little bit of a difference. We'll use triplanar to get rid of that. There you go. Cool. Much, much better. Okay. So let's start off. Let's get a cool, I think source is working now. I got everything updated. Let's see if this doesn't crap out on me. Yeah, it looks like it's working. Let me log in. Super secret passwords. Okay. Cloth. Where is it? Am I crazy? Fabric. There we go. Let's grab something kind of cool. Do I own this? I don't own it. Let's see. Track denim. No, I don't want denim. I don't want jeans. Let's see what we got. Something like, yeah, velvet. So we can pick anything, obviously, that we want. Cotton canvas washed out. And actually, let's take a look at our reference here. This guy, yeah. Oops. So yeah, that would be kind of a cool one to do. Cotton canvas. And we'll get rid of the one below it. And actually, before I do that, let's do a nice big bake. So I'm going to go to 4K. And ambient occlusion, we're going to do always. So it's going to self-include on itself, but normals. I want to say we're not going to do match. We're going to do by mesh name. Another user or a subscriber reached out and was kind of talking about this, how we want everything to only thing we want to self-include is ambient inclusion. So that means that this area here, this texture set is going to include onto this texture set. However, when we have normal information, we don't want normal information projecting from this texture set to this texture set. So we want to turn everything off with whether or not it's going to affect something around it. Okay, so again, self-include, we'll say by mesh name only. So again, this isn't going to project onto this. And that's with normals. If we go up here, when we say match, we'll say by mesh name. And there's none there. Yep, same difference. And then again, this is the ambient inclusion is the only one we're going to say self-include rather than by mesh name. We'll say always. And I'm going to go ahead and bake this. Should be pretty quick. Okay, this will give us a little better of a result if we end up using generators or something. So this guy, we're going to set up a tiling at like 5, something like that. That's kind of cool. Let's maybe do 6. Okay, what I'll do is we'll get it all looking good here, and then we'll copy it over to the other texture sets. I'm going to turn on height. That's looking pretty gnarly. A lot of times, again, I've said in the other ones, I like to leave it a little crazy, because I can always scale it back in V-Ray, but that's a little too crazy. So I'm going to back this off a smidge. So again, still a little crazy in the viewport. I'm just going to leave it that way. And turn this off. Maybe that's why too, yeah. So then let's look at this guy. If I put it on this side, I can color drop it. So look like I had a color, yeah. Just color drop this guy. We want to do a value in between the lit area and the dark area because that's the true color of that texture. Maybe we'll go up another to like 8, 10. Yeah, that's looking a little better if we back up. Okay. So right click on this guy, copy layers, Control Alt, and I right click on this texture set. It'll bring that up. So I can delete that underneath it. And we'll say paste, paste, paste layers. There we go. Cool. Same deal with this dude. Pretty easy, huh? Especially with Substance Source, just being able to download that. Okay, now we got it on here because they're sharing the texture set. We'll fix that in a second. I'm just going around. We're applying this. I think I can Control Paste or Control V as well. That works. Sometimes it gives me trouble. I don't know, maybe if on the newest version it won't. So see how that's a little more dense? Let's knock this down to 9 and see if that fixes it. 8? 7. Eyeball on that. That looks okay for the most part. Back's a little big. We'll go back up to 8. Okay, moving on. Paste that dude. He's in there. All right. That's looking good. Our little chair. Let's add some wrinkles. Let's try that. Let me full screen this guy. I'm going to add this. Let's see. There's this like crystal kind of thing. Is it in? Where is it in? Let's say all. We'll say crystal. Here we go. Yeah, this guy. Okay, it's in height. So if I drop that into height, what texture set are we on? Are we on the back? Yeah, we're on the back. So you see you get these cool wrinkles. Let me delete it out of this guy. And we'll try it on the front here with this texture set. So we're going to add a fill layer. I'm going to turn everything off because all I want is it to affect the height information. And we'll say it like that. So let's go ahead and rotate this 90. No, actually, I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. So the contrast is a little crazy. So let's go to 0.5. Oops. And I want to blur it so that's not so crunchy. See, the contrast just makes that worse. So let's go to up here. We're going to say add filter. And we want to leave this U filter thing on. We don't want to delete that. And we want to say blur. And if I bring this up, so see how we get a little wrinklage? Some wrinklage. That's kind of cool. And two, we could even, if I right click and say add a black mask and we'll add paint, we can just paint in the areas that we want, which is kind of dope. So let's just say we want it on the side here. I can just kind of paint it in on the side. Kind of in here. And we'll just kind of screw it up in there. And two, since it is a little crazy, like, do you see how when I paint, if I go like this, boom, maybe it's over here. If I go like this, it gives you like a circle. So let's go ahead and crank this down. It's just too high, I think. So it gives us a little bit of wrinklage. That's kind of cool. Maybe I went too far with it. That's something you can kind of play with. And actually, let's turn the hardness. Hardness is down. Maybe we'll turn the flow down. Kind of smooths that out. Kind of paint that in. It's kind of cool. See if I can get the front a little bit. Okay. Go to white. Is there any in here? No, not much. So I'm going to go ahead and right click. We'll say copy. Paste this down here. And we're going to say a white mask so we can see it. And let's turn this one 90. So where you go? Here we go. So I want to run in left to right. And what if we offset it a bit and kind of get some of these wrinkles where we want it? That's kind of cool on its own. So let's copy this guy again. Kind of just paste it around. So if you guys notice, let's run this Let's run this back the other way like that. I'm just going to drop this one down because it looks okay. You can add like repeats on this if you wanted more wrinkles. We say 2. Let's say if I go 5 and go crazy with it. See how that works? So it's kind of a cool little trick to add in. Just some breakup on this guy. We don't want a ton of it. I just want it kind of subtle, like super subtle. Let's do another iteration in the center here. I'll paint that little guy out. Go away. No, go away. There we go. We could use like an alpha mask, so this kind of helps break up painting. Something like this guy makes it not so apparent, I guess, that there's like a line of demarcation. Kind of, yeah. See? Kind of cute. So, yeah, you could spend a lot of time just screwing with that stuff. Let's do our wrinkles on here. So if I go paste, it should be there still. We'll turn this around. So how I'm rotating the environment is I'm just holding shift and right clicking, and that kind of moves around. And then we'll toss it on this guy too. Control V. And let's look at that. Oh, didn't paste. Sometimes it gives me sass. Okay. I don't know if I like that. Just paint some out. So I've already got a white mask on it. We're just going to go up here. I'm going to say paint. and we'll make sure I'm on black. So it's like Photoshop. Black will end up painting out information. The hardness I want to turn way down. If you notice, it gives me like these little scratches in here. I don't know if I like that. So let's go back to our shape, our normal shape. See if we can find that. Here we go. This is fine. Smoothing some of that out. Okay, you guys get the point there. Let's go ahead and get our wood down in here. There's a wood that I like called Beach something. Beach Chocolate. That's kind of cool. What does this one have? You can't really tell if it's maybe like painted or plastic. Let's go with wood. I want some wood. So we're going to toss this on this texture set. It's going to overwrite the entire thing. Not what we want, clearly. So I'm going to go right click here. I'm going to say black mask. And like normal, we'll do our add paint. And I'm going to go ahead and use a polyfill. And we're going to say element mode. And we're going to apply it to these guys down in here. Cool. Now we need to do the opposite. If you guys notice, if I go back, we've got the fabric on these guys down here. So we need to change that. So we'll go back to this canvas washed out. I'm going to change it to paste color so we can see it. We're going to right click, say black mask. Again, we're going to say paint. And we're going to go back to this fill mode. We're going to say black. And then we're going to swipe these guys. Oh, I'm already on a black mask. Let's go white mask. Add paint. Sorry about that. Same deal. Okay, black. Let's try that again. There we go. It was super subtle. Don't know if you guys can see it on the YouTubes. Okay. There they all are. All right. Now, what I did with UV mapping is I had all the feet go in the same direction. So if you notice all the wood's running up and down. So if I want to change it universally, if I go back up to this beechwood and I just say 90, it'll make it run left to right, which is kind of cool. So again, let's look at that. We want to make sure, especially with wood, if you notice all the feet are running left and right, right? So here's the bottom, here's the top, here's the top, here's the bottom. We don't have any like going from bottom to top. It's all from left to right. Again, this keeps the wood uniform. If you did have one random one going up and down, you would see, oops, we'll go back to 3D view. You would see the grain, like this one would be going left to right, this one would be going up and down. What you'd have to end up doing is creating another texture set, or not a texture set, another material, not rotating it, and then applying it to just this leg, and you'd mask it out like we did. We masked this one black, if this one was running up and down. Mask it out on one, add it to another, and that kind of fixes that. But yeah, if you just UV it properly the first time, you won't have to deal with that. Big deal though is it's just the height's too crazy. It just drives me nuts. It's just way too much. And it looks like there's still some sort of imprint on this guy. So this guy's still coming through. Make sure element mode black. Yep. So let's just do this. Instead of this linear dodge, we're going to say normal. That should fix that. And yeah, okay. All right. So let's look at something kind of cool here. Let's just add like some edge wear to this guy. So if I go add another layer, we're going to leave it that color. I'm going to right click and say black mask. I'm going to go back to color so you guys can see. And we're going to say add generator. And I just abused the heck out of this guy, this mask builder. I just like all the control that I have in it. So I'm turn grunge off a little bit. Curvature. I think the curvature is where I want it. The map's kind of janky. Okay. And then I can just say screen. Actually, let's send this a multiply and make it kind of dirty. So if I go up to normal here, we say multiply. Kind of gives us some dirt. Actually, let's turn the grunge up. And then I don't want it up here. So see that? Since again, they're on the same texture set, let's go ahead and we're going to say add a paint. And we'll go to element mode. We'll say black. And we'll turn it off that area. So then we just kind of have it on this guy. And we'll turn the color down a little bit so we get a little more of that. Nothing crazy, just so you guys can kind of see. And I'm gonna, on this layer, since I don't need metal, we're gonna turn that off, normal and height. We can turn the roughness up on the dirt so that you get, so watch if I see that. See how you can make it like shiny. Obviously it's not gonna be shiny, but make it a little more matte, kind of sticks out. That's kind of cool. Another cool thing with wood is scratches. So we'll go another fill layer and let's keep ourselves organized. We'll name this dirt. That's okay, these are wrinkles. Okay, in our canvas, which is cool. Okay. So this guy, we're gonna name scratches. Now, I only want to mess with the height information. We might make them darker, but we'll just leave it this way. I'm gonna bring it back or down in, right? We're gonna add a black mask. We're gonna add, not a generator, fill. This is where I think I found them. If I go to all, we'll say scratches. There's like a scratch generator. Here you go. Yeah, includes randomness, which is cool. So a little much, obviously, right out of the gate. We need to black this guy out so it's not in there. I think it's this one. Does this one have more control? Yeah, this is the one I was looking for. So you can add like more scratches, less scratches, the size of them, the blur if you want to blur them out slightly, how long they are. Look at all this stuff. There's so much to play with. It's so cool. So again, a little crazy. Let's just go to 2. Oops. And we need to kill it off of this guy, and we need to back this off too. So to make the scratch less deep, we're not going to mess with the fill layer. We're going to mess with the height channel here. So if we just want something like very subtle, so you see that? Again, breakup, it's kind of cool. And let's add another paint here. Can't forget, we're going to say black, and we're going to swipe this stuff up top because we don't want it affecting that. We just want it affecting the legs. Okay. So what else? Like, let's say if we didn't want this chair to be all nice and clean for an ArcViz project. Let's say we wanted it pretty nasty looking. Let's go up here and we'll say add generator. Oops, let's do another layer. Same kind of deal. We're going to do some dark, and then we'll add a black mask. We'll add a generator, and you can use any of these. Like, what's a good one? Maybe edges, curvature. Like, you can just slap that on, and but I just find that I don't get a lot of control. There's not a lot of stuff to play with here. Like, feels limited on the right here. So if I go to this guy, then we get grunge, we get AO, we get curvature. Like if I knock that back, you can turn grunge up and you get this like dirty look. I mean, you can have it, if we mess with AO, we can have it just build up like in these dark areas. So something kind of fun to play with. We'll turn this on to, instead of normal, because we don't want it to be just straight gray, the color. If we want to turn this to something like multiply, it'll allow the colors underneath to come through. So if you have like stripes or something on the fabric, setting it to multiply will allow some of that to come through. So again, not messing with normal or height. I tend to turn these off so I know what channels I'm using. I can make the rough super rough. This is dirt, right? Maybe make it some nasty stain color. Something like more brownish, right? Something nasty. So that's cool if you guys want to end up adding, let's just say stains. Same deal, we can Control C. Let's see if it'll let me paste it. Control V, we can paste it around. Now, obviously, this looks fucking terrible. But just so you guys can see what else we can do, this kind of stuff. Another cool thing is just kind of painting in. Let's say we just want like a little coffee stain over here. Let's do that. So let me go ahead and delete that. Oops. No, we needed that one. Yeah, this guy. There we go, stains. So if we just wanted like a little coffee stain, same deal. We would add in our coffee color. See, it's somewhere in there. Add a black mask. We'll say add paint. And then in alphas, there's like a coffee ring. Where is that? So many alphas to play with. So little time. Handprints, those are kind of cool for like blood. It's somewhere in here. Let's just try coffee. There we go. Yeah. So check that out. I can make it small and just stamp it in. Let's turn our flow up. Stuff like that's kind of cool. You can do this with bird poop on stuff. You can do this with a lot of stuff. So some other fun stuff to play with. So that's it for now. Let's go ahead and I'm going to get this over, or export textures. Yeah, let's show you how to do that. We've done that before. We're going to say File, Export Textures. We have all of the texture sets here. Now here's where we choose the textile density of this. I think 2K, if it's going to be sitting over in a corner, is more than enough. We don't need to do 4K unless we're getting up really close to it, and we're going to be doing like hero renders, that kind of thing. One thing I do want to speak on is I use JPEG a lot just because it's quick and dirty, kind of, you know, like getting files out quickly. Also really small. The smaller the map, the less impact on RAM at rendering time. However, I do notice that when doing some of the textures and playing around with Alchemist, when I export as a JPEG, the height map gets a lot of stepping, just due to it not being, it's an 8-bit map. So if we want to up the quality a smidge, but don't want to go crazy, I would suggest doing a PNG at 16-bit. I'm going to go ahead and stick with this. Try the difference, see if there is a difference. This is going to probably double the size of your guys' texture maps. So I don't recommend doing it all the time, but if you start seeing some issues at rendering where it's stepping, this is how you can kind of get around this. You just want something that's not 8-bit, move to a 16-bit. And then I'm going to just say V-Ray, and we'll get this into our YouTube chair. We'll just say here, new file. I'm going to say textures. Okay. All right. I'm going to export them over, and I may or may not connect everything in this set. I may do another one where I'll connect it up and we'll do a quick little render of this guy. All right. Let's export these guys, and I will see you on the other side.